Okay, so the Batman gives us a showdown for the ages in which the Dark Knight faces off against the Riddler in the streets of Gotham. Batman eventually learns the whereabouts of the character towards the end of the film after he snipes Falcone from his apartment window. However, he could have actually caught him sooner had he paid attention to the photos of the mayor. These were clearly taken from a high vantage point overlooking the Iceberg Lounge, which we later find out is Edward Nashton's home. We even get a wide shot of the club at one point, and in the top corner, we can see Nashton looking out of his window taking photos of the lounge. Had Batman figured whereabouts the photos were taken, he could have caught Nashton sooner, and the movie would have been about 10 minutes long, which, yeah, not as fun as what we got, so sorry for ruining your day. Now this is very much a Year 2 story in which Bruce is completely inexperienced, so we can excuse this. Like my parents, he makes major mistakes, and throughout the movie he refuses to accept the Bruce Wayne side of his personality. Although I've seen people complaining about this, I actually think it's the whole point of the film, and had he embraced this earlier, then he would have learned about the Renewal project sooner. Early on, Alfred tells Bruce that the accountants from Wayne Manor want to meet with him as Wayne Enterprises is getting into serious trouble. This is likely because it's hemorrhaging cash in order to line the pockets of Falcone and the corrupt people of Gotham. Had Bruce met with them, he could have learned the truth early on, and then he wouldn't have had to discover it through Edward Nashton, who also just happens to be an accountant. Now I absolutely love this detail, and it somewhat shows Bruce's downfall is the fact that he's so stubborn. I think going forward that this is very much the reason that he'll need to do a Bruce Wayne Begins and very much bring that side of his personality into the light. This idea is showcased in the film itself, as when he first sees sunlight he squints because of how bright it is. However, at the end of the movie he looks up at the sun without shifting his gaze because he's finally ready to become a beacon of hope. Now I don't think it'll be long before Bruce Wayne introduces himself to the world, and speaking of introductions, I've just realised I haven't told you who I am.
The hell are you supposed to be?
I am Wade.
What? No, this is the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, aka Dickhead Grayson, the guy who's here to put a Harvey Dent on YouTube with all my atrocious puns, but sometimes I get some little nice details that I can tell you that'll hopefully help you enjoy the film more. I don't think these Easter eggs have been brought up in any of the breakdowns, and if you enjoy it, we'd massively appreciate the thumbs up. That out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into the rest of the breakdown. Okay, so the movie opens with the Riddler spying on the mayor's son before he moves into the home to murder the main man. This young boy is dressed in a red ninja costume, and throughout the film, Bruce encounters him at several points. Now I'd love to see this kid become Robin at some point, and much in the same way that Bruce had a traumatic childhood, this kid does too. The mayor's death scene is a big one, and we actually see some major parallels here between the Riddler and Batman. Much like Batman steps out of the shadows, the Riddler does too, and the characters even carry some similarities in their masks. Placing them side by side, we can see that the nose pieces are very similar, and they of course are both geniuses that want to take down the corrupt in Gotham. Now Batman overseeing Gotham is also metaphorically shown in the Riddler's apartment, which we visit later on in the movie. Here he has a bat in a cage, and just below it there are several rats, which very much represents Batman and Gotham. He is the bat hanging above it as its sole protector, whilst the corrupt rats scurry below. Now the film culminates with the seawall being destroyed, which floods Gotham. However, this is actually foreshadowed early on at the mayor's home. During the debate with Bella Real, he says she wants to gut the Renewal project, which will mean that several of the seawall funds are heavily depleted. Beyond this though, we can also catch a newspaper wall chronicling Don's wins, and if you zoom in on the one below the L in lies, you can catch a mention of this. It asks whether the seawall construction has been stalled, and due to the corruption in Gotham, we now know that this is a weak point that the Riddler later exploits. From here we go to the streets and get Bruce's narration. The shot of him pacing through the streets is akin to Batman Year 1, in which he strolled downtown on his first mission. Amongst these flashes, we get a criminal robbing the Good Times grocery store. Now there have been several videos that have pointed out that this is a nod to the Robert Pattinson movie called Good Time. Matt Reeves cast Rob after watching it, so this is a really nice detail. However, I haven't seen anyone point out yet that the robber himself actually wears similar clothes to what Pattinson had on in the film, including a grey hoodie with an orangey red jacket over the top of it. After Batman beats up the black and white gang, he then travels to the mayor's office, which heavily mirrors the shot in Silence of the Lambs when the police all looked at Clarice Starling. Later on, when Batman confronts the Riddler in Arkham, we also get similar framing to when Clarice met Hannibal Lecter, and as Batman says, "It's all connected." He says it like that, it's all connected. Now Reeves has been very clear about his influences when producing this film. This includes Zodiac, Seven, and Halloween. A huge shout outs to Ryan Airy for pointing out that the Riddler's introduction somewhat mirrors Michael Myers in that film, as we see things through his point of view as he carries out his first murder. Bearing the Halloween influence in mind, I went back and rewatched the movie, and we also get a scene where Michael sits in the back of someone's car before murdering them, which massively plays on when the Riddler does it to the DA. A shout out to Greg from Real Rejects for also pointing out that the opening is very similar to the 70s movie The Conversation, which centers around a voyeur. There's several voyeur shots in the movie, including the one in which we see Bruce walking through the crowd. This is all shot from behind, as is the moment where he removes his motorbike helmet. This bit is mirrored when we see his back scars and he walks along, which is then coupled by us following Gordon from behind. It's a really cool aesthetic, and in some ways it makes us feel like we're following the characters too. Now everything is a big play by the Riddler to get Falcone, aka the mob boss that runs the city. Every single TV show, game, and film before this, it's pronounced it Falcone. However, I think they choose Falcone for this movie for a specific reason. This is so that it's closer to Falcon, and the Riddler describes the character as a rat with wings, which, though typically a bat, could also be a nod to that bird. Riddler wants Batman to bring Falcone out of the club so that he can snipe him from his window, and it is possible that, in his final few moments, he recognizes him as Bruce. Earlier in the movie, he talks about a moment that was shown in The Long Halloween in which he was taken to Wayne Manor after being shot. Falcone said that as he was being operated on that Bruce looked down on him, and this moment is very much mirrored here. He was initially supposed to die at this point, but he was saved by Thomas, which in some ways is mirrored in Bruce, who fails to save his life in this moment. It's a brilliant way to mirror father and son, and in this light we can see the scar on Falcone's face a hell of a lot better. This was given to him by Selina, which is a reference to Batman Year One, in which she also did the same thing to him. He also mentioned Zorro at one point, and if you're familiar with the comics, Zorro was the film that Bruce went to see as a kid that led to his parents getting murdered, so he probably doesn't like it that much. Probably give it 1% on Rotten Tomatoes if it was up to him. He's been bloody review bombing it. Now we learn in the film that he possibly had the Waynes killed after Thomas asked him to silence a journalist, and on screen the words Hush appear. The journalist's surname is also Elliot, which is likely a reference to Thomas Elliot, aka Hush. Now DC recently released an animated movie based on the graphic novel, but rather than keeping Elliot as part of it, they revealed at the end that it was the Riddler behind everything. Now you can interpret that the Riddler is actually the son of the journalist, and thus Falcone having him killed also mirrors the fact that Falcone potentially killed the Waynes. This would make Batman and the Riddler a hell of a lot more similar, and it's such a cool detail that I really appreciate in the movie. Now both the journalist and Riddler are called Edward, and though it's never confirmed, I do feel like the whole Hush connection and Riddler thing might be there if you look hard enough. Which I am, because I don't really have a life. Cheers. Now in the photo we see of him as a child, he's also in a choir, which makes sense as to why the song Ave Maria pops up so many times in the movie. We also see a cease and desist letter sent to the journalist, and along the top of it you can catch the names Miller and Moore, which are both a reference to Frank Miller and Alan Moore. These guys made some seminal Batman graphic novels, including Batman Year One, The Dark Knight Returns, and also The Killing Joke, so it's really nice that they got some appreciation in this movie at one point. Now not long after, the police find the Riddler in a cafe, and they slam his head against the counter, which cracks his glasses. This crack can actually be seen in all the appearances he makes from this point out, and I love this attention to detail from the costume department. You can also catch that his costume has cellophane wrapped behind his mask so that he doesn't leave any DNA behind for forensics to find. Apparently this detail is also in the Funko Pops, but I don't really know, as I don't know what Funko Pops are. Now his gang end up attacking Bella Real, and earlier in the movie there's actually a line that foreshadows this entire plan. When Batman attempts to take the collar off Gil Colson, we can see the Riddler is live streaming the entire thing. Amongst the comments is one that says, "Hope it's a dud and we gotta do it all again Tuesday," which sets up the attack that comes at the end of the movie. Gil Colson's license plate is also S397WD, which could be a reference to Batman's first appearance in Detective Comics 27, which was released in 1939. Many of the officers in the movie are also from the 39th Precinct, and like I've been telling you for years, and like Batman said, it's all connected. Now we're wrapping up the video because I've got to leave the cave and go watch the movie for a 5th time, but I'm just going to leave you with some more little bits of trivia. Did you know Zoe Kravitz also voiced Catwoman in the Lego Batman movie? You didn't? Well, shut up and listen. Also, when the penguin, when he gets tied up, yeah, the penguin, you know the guy, he waddles off like a bit of a penguin, doesn't he? That's a nice little touch. And people say this movie doesn't have jokes. That's hilarious. So yeah, we've got those insane details, we've got those inane details, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. Now I'd of course love to hear your thoughts, so make sure you comment below and let me know. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of the opening, which will be linked on screen right now. We talk about why the aesthetic of it works so well, and why it's our favourite Batman scene ever, so it's definitely worth checking out if you want to know more. With that out of the way, thanks for sticking through the video, I've been Paul, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, peace.